Backruns, also known as cauliflowers or blooms, are a common struggle for many beginners getting started with watercolor. And in this video, I'm going to share exactly why they happen, 2 ways that you can fix these splotches or at least make them less noticeable, and I'll also share how you can use them intentionally for beautiful textures and points of interest when working on fuller pieces. So essentially, backruns or cauliflowers happen due to a lack of water control. And this doesn't only happen to beginners. Even when you're farther ahead, there are so many variables that come into play when painting with watercolor that affect both your process and your end results, which you're not fully in control of. Developing your water control is one of the most important things to work on in the beginning of your journey. And with this, I mean staying mindful of how much water you have in 3 key areas or things as you're painting. Number 1 are your paint mixtures. What is the paint to water ratio in your mixtures on your palette? Number 2 is your brush. How much water are you holding in those bristles? And number 3, your paper. Is it wet? Is it damp? Or is it fully dry? So it's not just about the consistency of the paint on your palette, it's also staying mindful of how wet or dry your paper is, and also how much water you may be accidentally bringing in from your container every time you swivel your brush, and how much water your brush is holding when you're going in. Because all of these things will have an impact on the effects created. Backruns happen when we have too much water in our brush, and we go in on paint that is already settling and starting to dry on our paper. In other words, we have more water in our brush than the water that is on our paper. So what happens is that excess water travels down the bristles of the brush, disturbs that paint that is already settling by pushing it out. And this creates this lighter splotch with these irregular edges that sometimes resemble spider legs, and other times they look more like cauliflowers, which is where they got their name. These happen a lot when we go back in and try to fix a little imperfection, a little texture that we didn't like. When the paint is already starting to dry, it's not wet enough, or we simply go in with paint that is way too watery in relation with the paint that is already on the paper. So that's what happened in that first one. After painting that first blue layer, I added more water into the mixture, and then I went in with the same color but in a more watery consistency, and you can see that background that appeared. And in the second blue square, I also went back in after applying that first layer, but I did not bring in any more water from my container. I simply used that same exact mixture as it was in that first layer. So the consistency, the paint to water ratio that I went in with was exactly the same as I used in that first layer. So you can see that I had no splotchiness, no background there. Remember that every single time you go into your container of water, you're likely going to bring in at least some water into your paint puddles. So always make sure that you are gently scraping the bristles of your brush alongside the container when you go in to remove excess drippage, and also support yourself with your absorbent towel. As I paint, I constantly dab the tip of my brush on my towel. So in those first 2, I was just using blue and water. But backgrounds can also happen when we apply a second color over a first color. In this specific case, I made sure to work on that second color so that the consistency was almost the same as my first color. So why did this happen? Well, the reason is that that first layer was already starting to dry. So the paper had already absorbed a good amount of that moisture. So again, the level of wetness on the paper and in the mixture were not the same. And sometimes you don't initially see that splotch, but it becomes more noticeable as the paint starts to dry. In this one, I'm also going in with 2 different colors, and I'm going to do my best once again to get these consistencies for these 2 different puddles on my palette to be close to the same, or as close as possible. But once again, I'm left with this sharp defined edge in between my 2 colors, which you can't really see in the beginning, but then as that red expands and dries, you're going to see that edge. Why does this happen? Well, once again, that initial layer, or at least sections of it, were already starting to dry by the time that I placed that second color. And just to show you what would happen if I were to go over that red with too much water in my brush, There you go, we have another backrun or bloom. In this one, I'm painting in that first red layer, and I'm gonna show you what happens when I go in with a second color over that red, but with a more watered down consistency. I would say that the red has more of a milk consistency, whereas the blue has more of a coffee consistency. And I do have a full video where I explain about the different paint consistencies that we work with when working with watercolor, which are tea, coffee, milk, cream, and butter. I'll make sure to link to it in the recommended resources below in case you haven't checked it out. As the blue and the red dry, you can see how instead of having a soft gradient between my two layers where the blue transitions softly into the red, I have these cauliflower edges. And here I quickly painted in some red and then went in with some more watered down warm yellow right under the red. You can see how I'm bringing out some water from my container into the yellow to water it down more. And then I use it in this way to fill up an area right under that red shape. And I'm gonna get a bit of a white splotchy effect and irregular edges as opposed to a soft transition once again. I'm gonna finish up by painting a warm yellow shape here at the bottom. Just quickly painted that in, then removed that color from my paintbrush bristles and went in with some water from my container. Just ran my paintbrush bristles along that wet edge. And you can see how that water kind of disturbed that paint, pushed it toward the left. And as it dried, it created that visible irregular edge. All right, so there are two different ways that I fix these mistakes when they happen, or at least make them less noticeable. This first technique you can use when the paint is still wet. So if you still see a bit of a sheen there, then that is relatively easy to fix because all you have to do is go in with a little bit more of that same color and smooth it on all throughout that area while the paint is still wet. As you can see, if the paint is still wet, you're able to get rid of that texture or visible edges quite easily. Make sure that you're not going in with a paint mixture that is too watered down. I would use a coffee or even milk consistency. You want to make your way carefully into those edges because sometimes you can be left with an outline look where the outer edges of the shape or wash are darker than the color inside of that shape. And then the second technique I would use if the paint has already dried. So in those cases, the first thing that I do is I start with a little bit of scrubbing. The scrubbing is going to help you soften those edges or those textures a little bit before we do the step that is coming up next. And I simply did my scrubbing with one of my round brushes, no scrubber brush needed here. I do use synthetic brushes just as an FYI, which do tend to have a bit more of a stiffer bristle or a snap to those bristles. Just a little bit of gentle scrubbing with a tiny bit of water from your container should be enough to reactivate that paint and soften those visible edges or textures. Don't go overboard and continue scrubbing and scrubbing, because this is more of an abrasive technique and you can start damaging your paper. Don't expect the texture to disappear completely. When working with watercolor, we can soften mistakes, make them less noticeable, but in most cases, we're not going to be able to disappear them completely, especially if it's a darker color or a pigment that has high staining qualities. Once you're done with your scrubbing, allow your paper to dry completely so that it can regain its strength. Once your paper is dry, go over the entire shape once again with your selected color. And as you can see, I was able to make those edges way less visible. This, of course, does imply darkening that entire area. So this wouldn't necessarily be a good technique to use if you want to keep that section of your painting lighter, because this does imply darkening that area. Before moving on to the last part of this video, I want to share a couple of quick tips that will always help you avoid backruns and splotchiness and undesired textures. Number one, make sure that your paint is still wet and workable if you are going to be going in and doing some gentle softening of textures and that kind of thing, if your paint is already starting to dry, you're better off allowing it to dry completely and then doing scrubbing or layering after it has dried. And number 2 is avoid going in after you have painted in your color unless it is absolutely necessary, because that is a big part of the problem. I think one of the most important things to learn to do when working with watercolor is to paint our color confidently and leave the paint alone. All right, and just to finish up, I want to show you a couple of ways that I actually incorporate blooms into my painting process to create extra points of interest or beautiful textures to enhance my paintings. Because yes, even though blooms, cauliflowers, or backruns, whatever you want to call them, can be created accidentally and are seen by some watercolor artists as things that should never happen, there are other watercolor artists that bring them intentionally into their paintings to create the illusion of faraway trees or beautiful textures like snow falling from the sky. As with everything in art, it all comes down to whether you created the effect intentionally and whether it ends up adding to your piece or taking away from it. So in these first two, I'm going to show you how I create those blooms, first with water and then with paint. So you can create blooms in your paintings as part of your background washes or wherever you want some interesting textures. And one way is to create them in a manual, more controlled way by dropping in either water or another color over a layer of paint that is still wet. This is a technique that I use whenever I want to be more in control of where the bloom is in that background wash or wherever I'm going to be creating it. Like in this painting right here, I added some blooms with water over that gray vignette style background. And in this other painting right here, I created yellow blooms over the purple background. All you have to do is take a little bit of water from your container or a little bit of a second color and just touch the tip of your brush to that wet paint, and the water or the paint are going to travel down. The longer the tip of your brush is in contact with the paper, the larger the bloom. And you can also use gentle tapping motions so that you can make the bloom larger. And the second technique would be splattering, and I'm going to show you here how I do splattering with water and with paint. For that splattering technique to happen, the first layer of paint needs to be wet still. I'm using the size 6 synthetic round brush, which has a good snap to it, which I think is going to work very well for the splattering. I dip my brush in my container and use the index finger of my non-dominant hand to do some flicking right over that blue paint while it's still wet. With splattering, you're essentially creating these teeny tiny, more varied blooms. You can do this again with either water or paint. And as you do your flicking, those tiny drops of water or paint get splattered on that paint that is already on that paper, disturbing it and pushing out that paint, once again creating those lighter or colored splotches. Splattering is an awesome technique to use when you want more of a varied, more uncontrolled texture. Using water on blue paint is a great way to create the illusion of falling snow, but you could also create this beautiful mottled, more variegated effect where you have multiple colors kind of merging into each other with these little blooms. For example, in the background of this painting right here, I thought it would be best to splatter with water. And in this other painting right here, I used splattering with brown over that golden background color to create texture in the sand. I hope this video was helpful and that I was able to clear up some confusion, maybe gave you some ideas so that you can move forward in your journey with watercolor with greater confidence. And if you have any comments or questions, go ahead and leave them down below in the comment section. I always love hearing from you. Thank you so very much for joining me on this one. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy your art practice and see you very, very soon.